Hi everybody, happy Tuesday. By now you should have already done the do now in today's Schoology folder. Boom. Um, on the blue do now paper that you have picked up for today because you turned in your old one on Friday. I'm going to now do the Eclipses notes. This is an Ed Puzzle video that you are watching. You are watching it with headphones right now. You should have. How do I get out of this drawing? There we go. You should have this paper with you. If you do not have this paper right now, pause and go get this paper from the sub. Anywhere where there's a blank, you're going to be writing any underlined words on that blank. Not every slide that I show you is going to have a underlined word. That is okay. You're just going to listen to me explain. The reason I'm doing this as a ed puzzle is that so you cannot fast forward, because when we do notes in class, I like to explain things to try to help you better understand them. So that is why I decided to do this as an ed puzzle. We're going to be taking notes on eclipses. We're going to start at the very top of the page where it says eclipses, just defining what the word eclipse means in general when we were talking about the solar system. Eclipse in general just means for something to be hidden. When we're talking about the solar system, an eclipse is when one celestial body passes into the shadow of another, causing partial or total blocking of light. You can pause this ed puzzle as often as you need so that way you can copy down the words onto your paper. If I'm going too fast for you, just press pause and copy down the words. So celestial body just means something up in space. So in this case, we're going to be talking about the sun, the earth, and the moon passing into the shadow of one or the other, causing either partial or total blocking of light. So there's two types of eclipses we're going to learn about today. We're going to talk about solar eclipses and we're going to talk about lunar eclipses. Before we get into anything with eclipses, you do not need to write anything from this slide. Just talking about the word shadow. A shadow is formed when an object obstructs the path of light. So in the example on the left, the plant is obstructing the path of light coming from the window, which forms a shadow on the ground. In the example on the right, the woman is obstructing or blocking light coming in, which forms her shadow on the ground. So when we talk about eclipses, it's when one celestial body passes into the shadow of another, which causes that blockage of lights. Again, you do not need to write anything down from this slide. We're going to be using the words umbra and penumbra, which are in orange on the right side of the screen, when we talk about eclipses. These are two different types of shadows. Umbra is the darkest part of a shadow. This is where the light source is completely blocked. So you can see in this diagram, the umbra is pointing right behind the moon. That's because the light from the sun is completely blocked there. It is the darkest part of the shadow. Penumbra is kind of like the sides of the shadow. It's the partially shaded area surrounding the umbra. So it's the sides of the shadow that aren't completely blocked from light, but it is somewhat blocked from light. All right, so we are now going to do this top part of the notes here where it says lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse occurs during a full moon. So where it says moon phase and then it's blank, you're going to write full moon. It can only occur during a full moon. In a lunar eclipse, the earth blocks the sun and this casts a shadow on the moon. So this is when the earth is between the moon and the sun. The earth is between the moon and the sun. You're going to see on your paper, right below, there's a picture. You can see the earth is between the moon and the sun. We've got three types of lunar eclipses. The first one is called a partial lunar eclipse. So underneath where it says types of lunar eclipse, and then there's a blank, that first bullet point, you're going to write the word partial. A partial lunar eclipse is when a portion, partial portion meaning not all of it, some of it, when a portion of the moon moves into the Earth's umbra. This is the darkest part of the shadow. This happens when the moon, the earth, and the sun are not exactly aligned. They're not perfectly aligned. And it's going to look like this from Earth. There's going to be a portion of the moon being covered by the Earth's shadow. So you can see on the right side of this moon, It's covered by the shadow. The next type of lunar eclipse is called a penumbral lunar eclipse. This is when the moon passes through the Earth's penumbra. So the partial solar eclipse is when the moon passes into the Earth's umbra. Penumbral lunar eclipse is when the moon passes through the Earth's penumbra. This type of solar eclipse is very subtle. It's not very obvious, and the changes in the moon's brightness are challenging to observe from Earth. So this little animation here is showing you like two still images, flipping between the two of them. You'll see that the second one is a little bit darker at the top of the Earth. That is this penumbral lunar eclipse. So it's not very obvious. It's very subtle. So we don't really get too excited about that back on Earth. We're not like, ooh, there's a penumbral lunar eclipse happening tonight. It's nothing like a total lunar eclipse. So that is what you will see from Earth. Moving on, my last type of lunar eclipse, is a total lunar eclipse. This is when the sun, the moon, and the Earth are perfectly aligned. The entire moon will move into the Earth's umbra. So in this top left picture, you can see the entire moon. The little moon is on the right. That little white thing is in the Earth's umbra, the darkest part of the shadow. The moon then turns this reddish color. We call this a blood moon. So this little animation is what a total lunar eclipse would look like from Earth. You're going to see it gets red right about here. That is the total lunar eclipse, and then it'll go away. So we see this at night. It appears to be red. These are not as rare as total solar eclipses. I think I looked up the next one. It's happening in February or March this year. I forget. I did look it up. It's in the beginning of February or the beginning of March. You can go outside at night. You'll be able to see this red blood moon. Now, if you want to view a lunar eclipse, it's actually pretty straightforward and safe compared to solar eclipses. First thing is you want to check the timing. You want to find out when the lunar eclipse will occur in our location. So we can look up on Google, next total lunar eclipse in Pennsylvania. And it's visible anywhere on the nighttime side of Earth. You want to make sure you have a clear view of the moon, which means you don't want to be anywhere near tall buildings or trees. It might also be hard to see if it's a cloudy night. And you don't need any special equipment. You don't need any of those fancy solar viewing glasses that we need for solar eclipses. All right, moving on to our solar eclipse. A solar eclipse can only happen during a new moon phase. So you're going to write new moon on that line. We're at the second half of this page. A solar eclipse happens when the moon blocks the sun and casts a shadow on the Earth. So now it's the opposite. Now instead of the Earth being in between the sun and the moon is in between the sun and the Earth. So we've got three types of solar eclipses. Our first one, underneath types of solar eclipses, you're going to fill in the blank, partial solar eclipse. This occurs when the moon partially covers the sun, which casts only a portion of its shadow onto Earth. So again, it's not going to be totally dark. There's going to be only a portion of the moon's shadow on the Earth. If you see on the top right corner in this picture, you can see that bottom part of Earth is in the moon's shadow. This is what it would look like from Earth. So the whole thing is not going to be blocked. You're still going to get a little part of the sun. The next type of solar eclipse is called an annular solar eclipse. This is when the moon is casting the shadow on the Earth, but the moon is too far away from Earth to completely cover the sun. So as a result, we get this ring-like appearance, which we call the ring of fire, which is visible around the edges of the sun. So this is very similar to a total solar eclipse, but the moon is just too far away that the moon doesn't appear to block the whole sun. So it looks something like this. Right here is the ring of fire, where you can see the edges of the sun around the moon, right here. That is what you see from Earth. The last type of solar eclipse is the one that we get the most excited about because it is the most exciting. It is the total solar eclipse. This is when the moon completely covers the sun. What did I just do? Oh, there we go. Am I still recording? Yes, okay. So we've got some words that we need to go over for a total solar eclipse. We have the word totality. This is the period of darkness. So the path of totality is the path on Earth that's going to get that period of darkness. Not everywhere on Earth experiences a total solar eclipse at the same time. You'll notice that in this picture, only this little part where those white lines are hitting Earth is going to get a total solar eclipse. The part that's shaded is going to get a partial solar eclipse, but it's not going to get a total one. A corona or the corona is the sun's outer atmosphere that's shining onto the Earth. We have something called Bailey's beads, which are points of sunlight shining through the moon's valleys and mountains. I'll show you a picture of that in a second. And we have the diamond ring. This is seen before and after totality. I will also show you a picture of that. So here is this total solar eclipse. This causes the outside to get a little bit dark. So if you remember, we had a total solar eclipse it was either last year or the year before that, where we got glasses when we were leaving school. You had to put the glasses on. We were not in the path of totality, so we were still only in a partial solar eclipse, but we were close enough to the path of totality in order to be able to see a lot of that eclipse. This is pictures from the Great American Eclipse. This is from 2017. So we had one in 2024 in the US. We had one in 2017 in the US. These are some time-lapse photos. You can see the moon starts to cover the earth, the moon starts to cover the sun. Eventually it fully covers the sun for a few minutes outside. If you were in that path of totality, it is going to get visibly darker outside. It's not going to get pitch dark like it would in the middle of the night because some of that sun's rays are still coming up from the side of the moon, but it's going to be noticeably darker for a few minutes until the moon starts to move away again. So here are those two things I was talking about. We got the Bailey's beads on the left side. This is when some of that sunlight starts shining through the moon's valleys and mountains. And then on the right side, we have the diamond ring. If you turn your head 90 degrees to the right, you can kind of see what I mean by diamond ring. The sunlight is acting like the diamond, and the black part is the ring part. So you can kind of see it looks like a diamond ring if you were to tilt your head to the side. Here are the two paths of totality from the two most recent total solar eclipses, 2017 and 2024. Here are the upcoming total solar eclipses. So our next one that we're going to get in our area isn't until May 1st of 2079. There will be another one happening August 12th of 2045, but that's kind of more south. You can see it covers parts of California, Nevada, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida. So we might be able to see a partial eclipse in 2045, but we won't see another total one until 2079. I will be 79 years old at that time. So hopefully I'll still be here and I'll be able to watch that total solar eclipse with my glasses on. All right, now that we are done this, you are going to submit this Ed puzzle. You are now done number 2, which is the Eclipse Notes Ed puzzle. You are going to move on to the News ELA. You're going to click on the News ELA in today's folder. It's titled How Ancient Civilizations Studied Eclipses and Helped Create Astronomy. You're going to do these 4 things. You've got 4 check for understanding questions as you read the News ELA article. You have to get them right to unlock more parts of the article. You have to complete the graphic organizer comparing and contrasting Babylonians to the Chinese and what they thought of eclipses. You must do the science right prompt, and you must do the ELA quiz. After those 4 things are done, you can submit the News ELA article. If you finished early, you could do work for other classes or play the booklet. Bye bye. See you on Thursday.